Hello, and you are listening to the Gotham Chronicle podcast powered by the BatmanUniverse.net. Check out the Batman Universe for this and many other great Batman podcasts. I'm Josh, and joining me is Mazouz, Ben McKenzie, Donal Logue, Sean Pertwee, and many other cast members of Gotham. That's right. I fired Donovan and Jan. Apparently I could do that. Actually, they'll be back next episode. These people are on here because this is our special New York Comic Con interview episode. At the beginning of October, I attended New York Comic Con for the first time, actually, and got to interview the cast of Gotham before attending the panel. Don joked to me that it felt like Gotham was becoming my job because this was my third time interviewing the cast since July. I had just done it a few months earlier at San Diego Comic-Con, and then I was in New York like 2 weeks before this, maybe like a week and a half before this, I'd have to check, for a Tribeca TV festival where I interviewed the cast. I'll be playing the audio from the interviews, as well as the audio from the live stream that I did of the panel. The people who were interviewed here are Ben McKenzie, Donal Logue, Danny Cannon, Alexander Siddig, Davi Mazouz, Sean Pertwee, Chris Chalk, Cory Michael Smith, Drew Powell, Morena Baccarin, Robin Lord Taylor, and new cast member Crystal Reed. I didn't get the time to speak with Aaron Richards or Jessica Lucas. I did get to talk to Cameron Baccarin, but that was off camera, not an official interview capacity. Basically, they paired these people up because they started a teeny bit late and time was limited, and this helped, make sure that everyone got to talk to everyone. Well, not exactly everyone, since as you can hear, I missed it, but it still worked out pretty well. They paired people up by like how their characters were kind of related. Like the Sirens were all sitting together. Chris Chalk, who plays Lucius Fox, was with Bruce Wayne and Alfred. Bullock and Gordon were together. Penguin and Sophia Falcone were together. I mean, you'll hear it. Cameron Baccarin, I briefly spoke to off camera because, as you'll hear, if you want to hear more of my New York Comic Con adventures, listen to the New York Comic Con special that I did on the BatmanUniverse.net, where I talk more about this type of stuff. But I got the last issue of Tom King's Batman comic, the conclusion of the War of Jokes and Riddles, where Batman and Catwoman just got engaged. And I thought it might be fun to show it to Cameron Baccarin and Davi Mazouz and say, hey, you guys are getting married in the comic. And I got a picture of it, and we posted it on the website. And Bleeding Cool actually picked up the picture and did an article based around it, Cameron Baccarin has the biggest smile on her face when I show her the comic. It was great. Alexander Siddig, he was a joy to see again because if you heard in our San Diego episode, he was playing with our site intern, Ben, who was 11 years old, back in San Diego. And when I showed Alexander the picture, or he likes to be called Sid. Actually, it's funny. That's how he introduces himself. When I showed Sid, I guess, the picture, he was like, oh, yeah, I remember him. That was fun. How's he doing? And that part is in the episode. You'll be able to hear that. When this was all done and we were walking upstairs for the panel, some of the cast was just hanging out in the hallway. Ben McKenzie, Donal Logue, and Sean Pertwee, and Robin Lord Taylor. So I was like, I'm going to ask to take a group picture. This is like the Gotham guys. How can I resist this? So I did. And I showed Donal Logue the first Bullock comic, and he was like, wow, is that old guy Alfred? And I was like, no, that old guy's Jim Gordon. He's like, oh, wow. Well, I'm certainly not belching all the time like I did back then. That part is off mic because that was after the interview, but I thought you might get a kick of that. I like to show old comics to, some of the cast members, and sometimes it's fun. Sometimes they get a good reaction out of it. It worked in Tribeca. I didn't really get to do this all that much this time because there wasn't a lot of lulls or empty spaces in the interviews where I could kind of do something like this, but I did it for Sophia Falcone, and she was like, yep, I read it, and Penguin was surprised, or I call him Penguin, he's Robin Lord Taylor, but they're their characters to me. He's like, oh, wow, you don't look like you do in the comic at all, and we were like, well, neither do you. And when Davi Mazouz was looking at the first Lucius Fox comic, he asked me what issue it was, and I blanked. Batman asked me for some trivia and I couldn't do it. Oh well. But anyway, here are the interviews and here's the panel.
Hi, how are you?
Fine, how are you?
All right, we got the GCPD up in here.
Yeah.
So, Bullock was made acting captain when Barnes went a little crazy. What's his... I see that he's still in that captain's office, this season. Is he still acting captain or is he settled into that role and happy there?
Being captain. Mm-hmm. Yeah, Bullock is captain, and I think he's bringing back some of his older, almost pre-Gordon GCPD sensibilities to the office.
I noticed that.
And so, it creates some interesting drama in the future. But it definitely was a little bit of it was funny for me because we'd been in that office for so long where I'm like, when are we taking Barnes' stuff down?
Right, right.
But yeah, Bullock is the captain of the GCPD.
So is there going to be a lot more conflict between you two? You're already bumping heads a little bit in procedure and how to handle things. So tell us a little bit about what we can see there.
Yeah, without giving it away, there's a lot. I think that we're finally kind of exploring how, as close as these two are together and the bond that they had that probably can never really go away. There's a real philosophical difference between the two, and there's a real evolution in their relationship, which puts some loggerheads from the beginning, and it doesn't get better for a while. So
it's exciting to play. Absolutely, like just recently, the most interesting scenes because we're both. It's like we're between rocks and hard places on both sides, and it creates this really interesting, and it gives us a lot of traction to have kind of these emotional scenes that happen between people who have forged a bond for years, and now they have that history. But so I think we've been able to really, we have some really great throwdown scenes coming up in the future.
The conflict.
I'm sorry. And how is Jim's love life this season?
It's good. I mean, I think that when he lost what he had to do to Lee to save her, it ended their relationship, at least for the time being. And so he's kind of in a lonely place, and he's obviously encountered Sophia now, and that'll become a passionate way of release for him, a way of kind of getting out some of his angst and loneliness, but probably doesn't. Being with the daughter of a gangster probably isn't the best idea.
Ex-fiance, your ex-fiance sister-in-law.
Yeah, that as well. You did kill her brother, so probably not good.
Harvey's love life is such a mystery.
You had a fiance for like a few episodes.
Yeah, I miss I miss Scotty Mullen. She was great, Maria Thayer. I think Harvey's. It would be interesting if you were to follow him home and see how he lives and where he lives and what he does. I think he leads a pretty lonely life, which is why maybe Jim doesn't realize it as much, but Jim Gordon is so important to him because in a way, Peaches, it's love-hate, it fills this vacuum of real emptiness and loneliness in his life. He has a very unbalanced kind of existence. So, I think that's like all great love stories, like kind of what keeps them apart. And I think that maybe Harvey feels like he has more to lose in that relationship.
Other than the tension that last question, guys, and you can look at them. I'm just the newspaper person. They're the web people. I won't be insulted. What were you looking forward to? This season? What was different? What was more fun for you on the set?
Well, I think the relationship that we're exploring now, and the way that these two are coming into conflict is some of the most enjoyable stuff that I've done on the show, regardless of the relationship and stuff that we've done together. But I think it speaks to a deepening of the show in general. I mean, one of the things that we continue to lean into and need more is the complicated and ever-changing nature of the relationships amongst the principal characters and how people can come together and fall apart, and over time the air gets really thick with the inherent drama and tension of sort of all of the conflicts that are going on. But the bonds are real. People still, whether it's Riddler and or Enigma and Penguin, their complicated rivalry, love, whatever.
There's some romances that are at the middle of all this.
Yeah.
And what's interesting this year is, Ben wrote an episode and Ben directed an episode, and after years, Ben has a really strong voice in the show, and one thing that Ben really fights for, which I love, is that within each scene, the emotional stakes have to be real. Because after a while, what I do like about Gotham is the longer it's gone on, I feel like as opposed to just going forward and rolling through scenes and saying, yes, I'll go with you or I'll do this because it's convenient or it's easy or we've been around for a while, is that we're digging within each scene to go, wait, how do we really make the traction kind of solid in the conflict? And because I just know, and I don't even know how to articulate this, as an actor, I feel more excited about the scenes that we've been doing lately because we've been fighting for the real a little bit, and I really credit Ben with, and of course Danny and John and Bruno, et cetera, but like that there's, like let's make it as good as we can and as interesting as we can.
Very nice view, but it's definitely.
Sorry, guys, I have to grab. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Hey, hi.
All right.
So what we may expect of this new season?
Oh my God. I could start. And then you can talk about it.
Yeah, it's going to be. I think from what I've seen so far, as an actor looking in, reading scripts, seeing what's happening, I think that whatever Gotham was last season, which was a vast improvement on the second season, it's gone off the scale up to, I think in what was that movie where the volume went to 11? Spinal Tap.
Spinal Tap.
It's this one has gone to 11 this year, and God knows where we're going to go next year. There is so much going on. It is so amazingly intricate, and there's so many different interweaving plot lines which these guys are juggling. People have to keep up. People have to pay attention this year.
So you're joining a cast that seems to be very close knit. Been working together for years. What was that like?
It's always really tough because you have to hit the ground running, and you've got to be as good as the rest of the cast, and they're way better than I am. They're really amazingly good at what they do. So it was a bit of a teething process for me the first, and Danny, John, Bruno, the guys were very gentle on me, and gave me just a few bits and bobs in the first few scenes, so I didn't actually have to turn up fully Ra's al Ghul. So I was lucky. They gave me a shallow introduction. Did you do that on purpose?
No. It's true. It's just everyone gets along very well because they're given these mammoth characters from a 75-year-old canon of work, and they really take it on, and everybody really enjoys playing with that, and they take on the responsibility of that. I've never seen people work harder. Because they work hard, everyone bonds very quickly.
So you're bringing in a pretty iconic character into a show that has a lot of pieces.
Yeah.
Talk about the process of how you are bringing in this character.
For the first 3 seasons, we just wanted to establish everybody. We wanted to give everybody enough time by themselves for us to really truly understand who they were. And we've been working these characters for so long. Once season 4 came along and everybody knew who they were, now they collide. Now we peak. Now we explode. Basically, season 4 is about going crazy bananas. And out of that, Gotham will need a true hero. But before that hero could exist, we have to burn the city down, basically.
At the end of the latest episode, Ra's kind of lops licks with Barbara Keene. What is his endgame? Does he just really like her a lot, or does he have a plan? Why did he choose her, to bring back to life and to, I guess, share his bed with?
I think it's a good question. I suspect that the season's going to deal with the Barbara-Ra's relationship in a detailed way. So I don't want to give too much away about exactly what's going to happen there. But for sure, she is a person of interest to him. And I suspect there's an element of the psychopath in her that he's attracted to. She's sort of ultimately malleable. If anybody can be done, if a bright person who's very manipulative can do something with Barbara, then you've got a pretty dangerous weapon on your hands. So I suspect that's where, that's my guess, because we haven't finished and we're not there yet. So we haven't filmed a lot of this stuff, but that's my guess.
No, and he does actually pass on a gift to Barbara purposely, which changes her life forever.
Yeah.
That's all you're going to say about that?
That's all I'm going to say about that. I would say she's a survivor, and Rach always loved survivors.
And which episode you're shooting right now?
We are shooting 10 right now, and but we are written all the way through 14. So the good thing about this show is we get scripts way ahead of time. We get very enthused, we get very excited. So the ideas start flying. Especially, like I said, it's all, we've been building this bonfire for a long time, and right around this time we ignite the fire. And like I said, season 5 will be a very, very different show.
You already know what you're doing in season 5. That's what amazes me. That's what's astonishing.
Well, so much is inspired by the comic books too. I mean, we sit down with DC, like every episode and talk. I mean, and they keep opening the floodgates and saying,
enjoy,
do that. So it's a real good collaboration.
How does it feel shooting Gotham in New York City? I know you're in many places, you're on the soundstage, or you're what you built out in Brooklyn. But I always see scenes, in Queens, other places that are familiar.
Yeah, you shoot all over the place.
Oh, everywhere. Basically anywhere that isn't gentrified these days.
Which is tougher and tougher.
But brilliant location guys. Brilliant. Who, right from season 1, I kept saying, this is a Gotham building. This is not a Gotham building. And so visual effects can do somewhat, but we still have a budget. So these guys have to find us the decrepit and the authentic and the vintage New York,
Which is shrinking, so...
But it lends a real look to it, because obviously you have to shoot a lot of this stuff at night, so it's very noir. Because if you're going to be outside, you've got to... Everybody's up at 3 o'clock in the morning shooting scenes on the street.
We have... There is a coined phrase now in the television industry, which is Gothamize. The fact that, Gothamize it just means it's going to crush down a bit darker, there's going to be smoke, there's going to be a wet down, and it's, they actually say that now as a shorthand for doing certain things to make the show grungier.
So, as far ahead, is there something coming up in this show or the next season that you can't wait for to see?
I think that there's certainly going to be certain moments where there's going to be a moment that I am certain of that people will be extremely controversial. In the first 10.
Can we address the absence of Alan and Montoya, because Gordon keeps on saying episode after episode, I need other cops who care, where are the other cops that care? And we had them, and I understand the actors are not on the show, so obviously that's where but it's the fact that it was never addressed. It's the absence is very loud when Gordon's asking who else cares.
We are totally going to revisit that.
Yes,
we are totally going to revisit that.
Been asking for years.
Yeah, the thing about it is, it was just simply the cast was too big. It's literally it's a mammoth, and it's growing. There's some new people coming.
Renee's going to be like, hey, how's Barbara been lately?
I think in 11 and 12, big character, big new characters again, or some old characters revisiting in a different way.
Thank you.
Thank you guys.
Thank you.
Sid, do you remember that interview?
Oh yes, that was you.
Yeah.
I do remember it at Comic-Con last time. Did he enjoy himself that day?
He enjoyed himself, yeah. The video's on if you want to say hi to Ben.
Hi Ben, how you doing? Good to see you. I know you can't see me right now, but you can wherever you are today, which isn't today. Figure that out.
Good. I hope I didn't traumatize him.
Hey, it's Team Batman, which I guess we can't call you Batman yet, but are you going to get a code name, like the Black Blue Blur or something, or the Black Shadow?
I think that would be pretty cool. I don't know the answer. But I feel like that would be really cool, even if it's just like a kid. That's stupid. Don't do that.
Yeah, you don't write
that's
it.
That's bad.
You should.
Why don't you make one up for me right now?
The Black Blue Blur.
The Black Blue Blur.
I think he just did it.
I just ripped off Smallville. That's what I did, but damn it.
I gotta say the alliteration in that is
It's nice.
It's definitely it rolls off the tongue.
Yeah.
Also, going to congratulate you too. You can keep this. Batman just got engaged to Catwoman.
I know.
So
Thank you. Appreciate
so
that.
major life change. You know, any thoughts on that?
It's great.
That's yours. You can keep that.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. Look at that. Yeah, good for him. You know, Batman's
he deserves love.
He deserves it. It's not gonna work. It never works. But he deserves it.
So I know you talked about this a little before, but what was it like, you know, when you were finally putting on more of the costume, you know, doing those scenes, even though I don't know what it was like shooting, where you look like you're high up on the ledge, you're probably not, but you had to pretend, right? So that was when you were really kind of stepping into that part of the role. How did that, this is the first time everybody's kind of seeing it in the last few episodes, how did that feel?
It's incredibly exciting. It was scary to become a version of, because, you know, for the past 3 years I've been playing a version of Bruce Wayne, and now all of a sudden I'm playing a version of Batman, which is a completely different ball field. And so there was a lot of pressure that came with it. But it seems like everything's been going well so far, so no reason for that to change. But it was great. It was really, really fun.
Is there any of the episodes that you had already shot? Is there any scene that you can tell us, well, you should expect for this scene?
I had real fun in the last episode, actually, because we delved into my relationship with Thomas Wayne and how I first met him. And I have to say, John Stevens, our showrunner, wrote this 2-page monologue speech, basically. And it's fascinating. That has been my, because I've always wondered how did they meet? You know, what is this loyalty? And it's a rather cool scene, isn't it? Where they come from. So that's something I'm really looking forward to seeing.
And you too?
So we're
I'll go. For me, there's a lot of really fun scenes coming out. There's one particular in episode 7, you'll know when you see it, that I had a really, really fun time doing.
I think my favorite scene with these two, which I think is one of my only ones so far this season, is just the presenting of the suit, because now we see the purpose of Lucius Fox in the whole arc of the universe, which is really nice to start to get to know him better and see his skill set used. And always filming at the GCPD, we have a really good time. So there's a lot of antics that happen with Detective Gordon.
So we're going to see more of Lucius Fox getting involved in
Oh, I see you now. Hey!
becoming of Batman.
I would say so.
Okay.
Yes, you will. Bruce is going to be definitely the second half of the season. Bruce is going to be taking on this vigilante persona, and not because at the beginning of the season now we see him do so because he tells Alfred, I feel more alive than ever before. This is fun for him. It's a sport. He goes out there because it gives him a rush. When we see him do it next, it's going to be for a very different reason. It's going to be because Gotham needs him, and when he gets to that point, he's going to realize that he can't do this alone, and a bulletproof jacket isn't going to cut it. And so whenever he goes out there and he figures out that he needs another piece of equipment, another gadget, Lucius Fox is going to be the man he turns to, and these three kind of really become a team very, very similar to the team you know from the books.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you. If you haven't seen it before, that's Lucius Fox's first appearance.
Oh yeah, of course I've seen that.
You do your homework.
Do
your homework.
What is that?
Lucius Fox's first appearance.
Oh. When was that? 80s?
Yeah, like very late 70s, early 80s. I don't have the issue number. I'm embarrassed. Batman asked me and I didn't know.
It's okay, I'm just not going to look at you.
You always say.
Don't take it personally.
So the three of you I hear are going to be like a family this year. How is that going to work
I
out?
know. How did that happen?
Works out surprisingly well.
It really does. Yeah. Yep. It's the dream team you didn't know you needed.
Yep.
Okay, so can you tell us a little bit about how this comes about and how it works?
Sure. Well, I guess it starts with, I'm thawing out. My body's alright, but my brain is not.
So Grundy comes out of the swamp.
Thank you. Help me out here.
Well, I'm taking it in order.
You still have eye sickness right now.
It starts in the Narrows.
It does start in the Narrows.
There's a fight club. The Narrows is this sort of like underground society in Gotham.
Yep.
Gotham's already underground. It's underground of the underground. You can see where I'm going with this. And it's a fight club, essentially, where people just beat the crap out of each other for money. And there's this woman who runs it, and it's just, a lot of fighting and a lot of blood. I'm the doctor there. I've decided to be around and help people after what happened last season. Enter this guy into the ring.
Yes.
Probably want to take it out before that. But.
Yeah. No, that's it. Grundy comes out of the swamp, runs into Enigma, doesn't remember that he hates him. Enigma figures that out and uses it to his advantage. We end up in the club with Dr. Tompkins and kind of by necessity all around become this team.
We all sort of need each other.
Need each other. Yep.
It all functions.
And I have to say that you guys actually just acted out how the team.
Yeah, right. Yeah. That's a good point.
Basically
I stay quiet.
Yeah, we need Morena to organize.
I hustle out people to do things.
As if they try to figure out what it is.
Yeah.
Now, is Lee going to be upset that Gordon's now with her sister-in-law?
He is?
Oh. I didn't say anything.
Alert.
Spoiler alert.
I never thought about that. That's right. It is your sister-in-law.
For like an hour,
Yeah.
she was my sister-in-law.
Till death do you part.
And then he killed my husband.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll see. We haven't had that opportunity yet.
And put that together.
I'm sure it's part of the tension, right?
Just another thing to get her mad at him.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's part. You got to tear them apart, put them back together, tear them apart. And I don't know how many times you can do that until it all really combusts, but we'll see. We'll find out.
Yeah. It's been a great joy to work with these two, though. I have to say, we really enjoy as a cast. We really love to be together. It's I do not take that for granted because it doesn't always happen in our business. So but it's fun also to get a chance to work with different people. I had time working with Robin. We've all had different stints working with other people, and so for the three of us to be together, totally unexpected. It's I don't take it for granted. I really enjoy it. They're really lucky to work with me. Is what I'm trying to say. And I know they know it.
We know.
They don't have to say it.
It's also
they just know it.
this location that we're in is awesome. And
crazy.
We have 100+ extras every time we're there, and
Looking crazy.
looking absolutely insane.
It's
Just
like-
the absolute dregs of Gotham.
Yeah,
You can
and
imagine.
it's funky and awesome.
It's
Does that
just
mean Lee never got off the train? You just took it back to Gotham, or what happened?
she fell asleep and it came right back. How many times does that happen to you?
I woke up and I was like, I'm still here.
Destiny.
Couldn't afford
Groundhog Day.
Exactly.
Yeah.
What kind of Lee are we going to get this season? Because she was kind of taking a dark turn
I
at the
know.
end. Are we back to good Lee? But she's keeping bad company, so...
Well, the virus definitely changed her forever. It will not be the same Lee you've seen. There's definitely an edge. There's definitely a darkness to it. There's just a lot of stuff that happened, and she's trying to make amends. It doesn't really go so well, but it's really nice to be able to play a character that started over here and is now over there.
Just
to play all the shades.
Just you talking now reminded me about that letter that you wrote Gordon that narrates the end of the season. And I hadn't thought about that till just now, but it was really nicely written, and it's interesting to think about that in context of them coming back.
Right.
Lee coming back to the.
I forgot about that. It's a good thing to look at again.
Because in some ways, she understands Gotham as well as anybody.
Yeah.
There's like an intrinsic goodness about Lee that is an interesting variable in this relationship.
Right.
A lot
really
of the
rare.
changes I go through in the first half of the season are because of spending time with her. So there are some qualities of like the old Ed that emerge, which has been really fun.
Is there potential for some feelings to develop?
Already have. I mean, look. You tell.
How could they not? Ed's brain may not work, but his glasses, prescription.
His eyes are just fine.
My eyes are fine.
He had that slap in the face last season.
I know.
That's right. Yeah, he's looking for more.
Maybe,
What about Butch and his lady love?
That's
Get back together?
That's going to be very interesting. Yeah, there's some of the stuff moving forward.
She is a key influence to the evolution of Grundy, because his sort of amnesia about my role in his life allows us to be friends. But when you have someone that loved the old Butch and is insistent on being recognized, there's sort of a problem there.
That's right, and it's what they've done. The writers have done in that. It's this kind of beautiful, dark, twisted love story that continues, and
the writers' room is on fire this year.
They really are.
The narratives for this year. I mean, they're always kind of surprising. This year was like, when they kind of broke down what was going to happen, I was shocked. But it has beared some really great fruit this year.
Yeah, it's cool. Absolutely.
Sounds exciting.
Thanks guys. Appreciate it.
Thank you. So glad about when Sophia meets
Ozzy?
Yes.
Well, Ozzy and Sophia.
Why? What is it? What, she just is it Oswald? What is it with the name?
Wait.
Love it. I love the. What is it? Isn't this episode when it's the whole name thing?
Oh yeah. I think that's one. Yeah, where you were throwing in like Ozzy. Yeah.
When Sophia meets Oswald, I think she's trying to figure out. I mean, you'll see, but she's trying to figure out who he is in relation to Gotham and what that means for her, and there's a little push and pull and tactics change, I think, hopefully during the scene, and then very carefully I think she tries to maneuver her way into his amazing life.
She's good at it. She learned. Well, her dad is her father is Don Falcone, who is underworld royalty in Gotham City. Taught Penguin everything he knows, like everything he knows. So when obviously when he hears that his daughter is coming to town, it's like at first it's just they're like sort of circling each other, like, are you a friend or are you a foe? And actually that's a sort of a theme between the two of us for basically our entire relationship is trying to figure out who we are to each other, and which is fun because again it's like every time you think it's going to go one direction, it comes back another, and she has her entire own agenda, which is really which again it's also like I love seeing that too, because when we started this season, after everything that happened with the Riddler, Oswald has decided he's not going to care about anybody. Someone shows up and finds a way in, and so and she I think it's really, because then I learn more about it teaches me more about the character through her actions, and also through her performance. Like it's like we find things together, which I'm really excited to see.
Was Sophia's tryst with Gordon in her debut episode, was that a one episode thing, or is that
It's not a one episode thing.
Okay.
It's not just a tryst. It's a deeper relationship, so it'll continue on to be that way.
And any complications from the fact that he was engaged to your sister-in-law?
Yeah, I know.
And killed your brother.
I love. This is why I love speaking to people, because I don't think they really, maybe the writers considered it or didn't, but it never actually really comes up. The brother thing did in the first episode. And it never.
He's like, I'm sorry about that, like as if there was nothing he could have done.
I know. But it's never addressed fully in any of the scripts yet. But I think it definitely was something that I, as an actor, have been using. The fact that he did kill my brother, I've been using it for my own performance and for my own motive. So we'll see how that plays out.
And what will be expect of Oswald this year?
Oswald?
Since it's been coming and going, and all these things that he went through, and
Well, he meets one of his most challenging adversaries he's ever faced this year, and it's. So, like to say, and as it is with Oswald, like he starts at the top, and there's going to be, somehow it's all going to be taken away from him. He learns these lessons, through how other people manipulate him. He learns from his enemies. His enemies are there to teach him how to survive. And so this year he learns that lesson, I would say, more so than he's ever learned before. So it's all about, his new enemy in town. I won't say
there is a thin line between love and hate.
Yes.
So there was love. Oswald said, I'm not going to let that fuel me anymore.
Well, let me clarify and say it was what Oswald thought of as love. I don't want to say it's love because, again, it was, Oswald's, if we're talking about the Riddler and his relationship with Riddler, Oswald is an incredibly immature, damaged person, and very, very, very selfish. And so what he thought was love was really just some sort of twisted need for power, for acceptance, for comfort, for protection. It's just it's not an actual way that one should love another human being. So anyway, I wanted to say that.
Okay. Well, I guess then, are we going to see more of the conflict, or is it straight out like now he just really hates the Riddler?
So as we saw in the last episode, the Riddler escapes. We all can assume that they find a way back together in some fashion, but I won't say anything more except it's nothing what Oswald expects. So it's completely unexpected when he and the Riddler come back together. So
Thank you guys. Thank you.
Never saw Sophia from her first comment.
I definitely have.
Yeah,
I did my research. I know.
Whoa.
Yeah, that's Sophia.
No one looks
well, and I also
comic book version of themselves.
Thank you so much. I played the character.
I know. Look at him.
Thanks, guys. Take care.
All right, hello New York Comic-Con! Happy Sunday, how you guys doing? Look at how long this list is. Okay, the panel's now over. How are you guys doing today? What did you think of that? Yeah, so all right, how many people in this room are dressed as a Gotham character? Nice, oh nice, all right. I'm gonna bring out our massive cast and panel, and we're gonna talk about a whole bunch of stuff and have a lot of fun. So first we have executive producer Danny Cannon. Mr. Alexander Siddig. Miss Erin Richards. Miss Jessica Lucas. Miss Crystal Reed. Robin Lord Taylor. Ben McKenzie. Donal Logue. Morena Baccarin. Cory Michael Smith. David Mazouz. Sean Pertwee. Chris Chalk. And Drew Powell. Holy cow. Literally every working actor in Hollywood is on this stage. And just to think, when it first started, it was like kind of a smallish cast, and now we've got all these great iconic characters coming to life. Danny, did you ever think when you started the show that you would get so close to the Batman origin story?
Yes.
How have you figured out how to do Batman differently than we've seen?
I just think going back into the past and create these origin stories that didn't really exist before now. It was much more about creating a city that was filled with so much danger and potential that the only person who could save them was someone like Batman.
Well, looking at this lineup, you know, they could probably use a Batman or two. You've introduced several new characters this season. In fact, this week we got Detective Harper, who, if any of you know, Detective Harper has DC roots. What can you tell us about where she's going to fit in all of this? Because her connection is to a character from another show on another network. I'll say.
No, it was just, it's one of those, the world is so rich and so diverse and colourful and unpredictable that we never have too many people to come into that world. It's a whole city, and the whole city needs a big cast.
Yes. All right, Ben, you wrote this week's episode. And how great was it that you got to write an episode called The Demon's Head? Because...
Whoa. Guess I won't be using that. Demons. Yeah.
Wow.
Keep that very far away from me.
How was it? I mean, you've directed an episode, now you've gotten to write an episode.
It was phenomenal. It was a joy. I put Sid front and center, so nice job there, my friend. Coming up with the episode title took no time at all. You know, Rachel, that means Demon's Head? Oh, then there you go, there's your title.
How long did it take to actually write the script for you?
Months.
It came at a really good time, too.
Yes, we were getting married and we were on our honeymoon. And
you were working on your honeymoon?
I was sneaking off at times. Lord, yeah, we're getting
better than how her honeymoon went on the show.
The process takes months. I mean, the actual writing of it sort of depends on what you mean by that. Like when you actually started, say, a draft, that's actually relatively short. But I was in the writers' room in May, I think, wasn't it, Danny? Or maybe it was April, a few weeks when we broke the story, and then you go off and you do a bunch of different things, like a story document, an outline, and eventually a draft, and then you get rewritten, and you get rewritten again, and you write, and you get rewritten, and that's the process. Danny doesn't know anything about that.
Yeah, welcome to the world of writing.
Exactly. Writing is rewriting.
It feels like Jim is on his way to getting back on the moral beam this season.
Yeah, sure. And that beam's just getting wider and wider. Doing the parallel bars right now.
Well, he's run out of allies.
In a way, yeah. I mean, the reason that he goes down to Falcone is because he doesn't have anyone better to go to. So, because he thinks that's going to be a good idea. Why don't I go down to Falcone? You might help me out. So yeah, I mean, he's running. The world's getting it's getting a little claustrophobic. The walls are closing in a little, which makes him a little desperate. He goes down there and he comes back with someone else. Where's Crystal? There she is.
Okay, Crystal Reed, welcome to the show. How about that? I'm a long way from Beacon Hills. All right. We got our first case of Sophia last week. Should we believe that she actually has feelings for this guy, or is she maybe out to settle a debt?
I think that there are feelings there, but I don't want to tell you what they are. Actually, that's a question that keeps evolving. I think, especially with the writers, I think we're trying to figure out what that relationship is actually going to look like. And it's never really addressed the fact that homeboy over here killed her brother. It's never really talked about, but I think that's certainly something that I've been using as an actor to kind of to work in there.
And just looking at your character last week and all the female characters on the show, can we please have a Gotham City fashion show episode? These women show up. I mean, they serve. David, where's David? Over there. Well, young man.
I'm over here.
Hey! So the
I see you over there.
The billionaire brat, huh? How much fun is that version of Bruce Wayne?
Oh my god. Oh my god. It's so much fun. We have, what you saw last week is just a little tiny taste of what's gonna come. And we shot this scene in episode 7, more like a sequence. I've never had so much fun shooting anything on any other job ever. It was like one of the best 9 hours of my life.
He's a good dancer, by the way.
A good dancer?
I don't want to give too much away, but this guy can dance.
He's also sitting next to a very good dancer. Does that come into play?
What do you mean?
Well, Well, David, actually, we did an interview with David, and he mentioned how he said that, the Bruce-Selena relationship is kind of in tatters, but we might actually see a bat-cat connection.
Give the people what they want.
Hell yeah, you will.
I mean, at the moment, Selena's just focusing on herself, and I wish I could say that there's a bat-cat thing going on right now, but there was a little bit of that going on, and that obviously didn't work out, and Selena is just fed up, and she just wants to focus on making her life a little better and doesn't really care what Bruce has going on at the moment. So, I mean, if he keeps dancing with other girls, I don't think she minds.
Okay, all right. Sean, hot Alfred.
You can come again. Michael Caine is so pissed right now. How dare you?
No offense, Michael Caine, or Jeremy Irons. Alfred is slightly on board with helping Bruce get, through this point in his training. But the Alfred that we know is very plugged in high-tech wise, and yours is very physical, very brute strength. We saw a lot of that great stuff this week. Are we about to see Alfred kind of learn some new tricks?
Not really. I think that we're sort of going forward with Alfred this year by going back to a certain degree. He, there's this wonderful actor called David O'Hara who came to visit him in season 1, played Reggie, who he served with in the SAS, and I think that he reverts back to type, and you'll see a side of Alfred that's never really been seen before, and that's why he lived this sort of cosseted lifestyle by wearing these three-piece suits, and the boy basically holding him in check. And when that sort of relationship is on the edge and it starts to dissemble, he unravels really fast, and you see what he was capable of and who he was, and it's not pretty.
I like that.
It's pretty because Sean's pretty.
But it's right. It's hot Alfred, not pretty. It's right. Donal, good to see you. I was very. I'm not gonna lie. I was a little disappointed in Logue saying, siding with the GCPD. But I get it. I now understand it.
Commissioner sent down the mayor, and I also feel like I think he's seen Gotham for a long time. He lost Falcone, he lost Maroni, he lost Fish Mooney, and so the underworld that he understood, it's kind of like No Country for Old Men. It's so Nietzschean and so beyond good and evil that he kind of thinks that, well, if I do a deal with Penguin, if I go along with that, it's going to mitigate some of the damage that's being done, and it's certainly going to save the lives of cops in the GCPD. And so he's taking, in his mind, I think, the lesser of a couple of evils.
Well, that was what I was thinking. It was like, okay, well, at first I was disappointed, but he's doing the best thing he can, and it turns out that this guy's actually a very good cop.
Yes, and he's anyone who moves up in the ranks knows they're stuck between a rock and a hard place, and there are political ramifications and stuff. I think it's just interesting because it puts Jim and Harvey for the first time on this collision course where they kind of can't work it out at this point. It causes such a rift between them, so it gets interesting as the season progresses without giving too much away.
Okay. Speaking of interesting, Robin, Penguin is in a very interesting time in America. How is it playing the second most insane politician?
Oh, God. I wish. I don't know, I'm not going to get into that. It's really fun.
Yeah.
It's really fun. This season with the, what I really like about the season is with the establishment of the Pax Penguina, where he is licensing crime, taking a little cut for himself, because, it's business. But it really puts him right in line, at the top of the season, his main adversary is Jim Gordon. And I love that because it really gets down to so much of the nut of the show for me, and his whole trajectory started with Jim. So anytime we come back together, there's so much background and past, coming into that, and when they come up against each other, it's again, we're telling the story of like, who wants to control, neither of us want chaos. Like, we are very similar in that way. But, both of us want to be in control. And so it's going to be a constant battle between the two of us. And I like that starting with the season, yeah.
And you probably have had more scenes with David this season than you ever had.
I know, right?
Does Oswald figure...
What is it, like 3?
Is Oswald going to figure out that this kid is probably going to be a thorn in his side as well?
Oh, absolutely. I think, that's on... And, we see that in David's trajectory this year. He's like any, jerk teenager, like asserting himself as a man. And as he does that, he's going to have to confront everyone sitting up here. Like, if he really wants to be, if he wants to be the man that we know him to grow up to be, he's going to have to deal with us at some point. And so that's what I love about our scenes together, is because we all know he's going to be Batman someday, and I'm going to be, and I play the Penguin, and they're going to be, adversaries. But every time we have these little tiny scenes, it's like planting a seed. It's like planting a seed into the history that will then grow into the Batman that we all know.
And I was talking about this with you before, Damien. I feel like a major theme in Gotham this year is control and how to protect the Gothamites. And everybody has their way. Gordon has his idealistic way. Penguin has his Pax Penguina way. And Bruce is going to come up with his way. And it's going to be, and he's going to have to fight to have it win. And we know what's going to win. Batman obviously has control, the ultimate control of the city. But it's going to be a fight, and it's going to be something that I'm really excited to explore later on in the year.
We got a couple lessons we need to teach this kid, before he gets that.
Well, he got his first scar. I felt that was a very iconic scene of giving him his first stitch up. That was an Alfred Bruce moment that we all know had to start somewhere. Miss Morena Baccarin.
Hi.
There was deep concern at the end of the season that we were not going to see Lee again.
Come on, I've taken trains before.
And that's what I also love, is the main transportation of Gotham is a train.
Oh, what I really like though? I only got a bus. Yeah. You put me on a bus.
There's no airplane.
Yeah, who's getting the airplane?
But Danny and John Stevens have assured us that we will see Lee again, but she will be very different. What can you tell us, and when can we expect to see her?
Very soon, 2 weeks, episode 5. You may not recognize her at first glance, so look around. She's changed very much. What happened at the end of last season kind of stayed with her. She's not been the same since the virus, and she couldn't stay away from Gotham to assuage guilt, to, just live out whatever she needed to get closure. But she didn't want to come back to the GCPD or to Gotham. She's coming back to an underground society called the Narrows. And she's there to try to help people as best she can. And these people are the suffering souls of Gotham, and who are now even worse off after the virus hit. And she's there to help. I don't want to give too much away because I don't want you to see her coming when she's coming. But she's in this fight club and helping people out.
Oh, yeah. Ben has some experience with the Fight Club stuff. Yeah, from his OC days. Yeah. So up until this, I would have said Lee was the most sane person in town. But now she's clearly maybe on a fringe point. So now, Chris, you inherit the most sane character in Gotham.
It's true. It's true.
I love that he is the one designing the Batsuits.
Yeah, I think it's. I'm excited about it because we get to see that relationship with Bruce develops. We get to see as this masked vigilante evolves how Lucius keeps him safe, because that is Lucius's main objective. It's very important to keep this, Thomas Wayne's son safe. I just answered a question I wanted to answer.
He also signs the paychecks.
Say it again?
He also signs her paychecks.
It's also true. Good call on that. Good call.
Will we see him get more involved in also developing the tech that he uses?
I believe we will.
All right. Cory Michael Smith. How does it feel to have gone from Oswald's biggest crush to his biggest foe?
I don't know, is there something about like hate is just another version of love? I think it's still because he loves me so much. He misses me so much. It's just looking for... I have to say though that the scene, I miss working with Robin a lot, but the scene when I had melted and he comes in and freaks out was so great. I think he misses me.
I screamed so loud that I saw stars, and then I watched it back, and I'm like, oh yeah, there she goes. Yeah. Anyway,
How was it? Because obviously you weren't encased in ice, but you had to shoot scenes within a very tight space.
Yeah, it was a little warm, you know. I didn't have to stand in there all the time, but you know, I had some muscle cramps. No, it's fine. You know, I'm really happy to be out of it.
Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah. Erin, where is she? Erin. Okay, the atomic blonde we deserve. Amazing. Again, one of those great saves for the show. Like, you know, we're worried we were going to see her. She comes back. This is, again, much like Lee has, and what it looks like Cory's going to have as well, is a very different take on a character you've been playing for a while already.
Yeah.
I mean, she's still insane.
I don't know.
No, she's
She's always going to be a bit insane. Yeah, she dies, which was pretty huge. And then when she comes back, Rachel's brought her back. And it's through the Lazarus Pit, and the Lazarus Pit changes people. So the kind of version we see of her now is like a lot more zen, and she's also been taught martial arts. So she's got like a different kind of way of moving through the world. But you know, as we go along, you'll see that she's still got old Barbara kind of inside her in parts. But she's kind of approaching Gotham in a bit more of a businesswoman now, because she kind of learned the lesson that she can't just be crazy because her best friend will kill her. Drives that. So she's now like, okay, cool, so I've learned that lesson. What do I do now? Okay, I'm going to come in, she learned that she needs her family, she needs Tabitha, she needs Selena, she needs to create safety around her, even though she has these new skills. She can't do it alone, so she goes back, asks for an apology, and then forms this team, this alliance that can get her again where she wants to go. Like, she's always looking to be top dog.
Yeah. And Jessica, I have to ask about that because Tabitha is such a badass and so great at being poor. Your reactions as poor Tabitha, like the rundown life, they're so great. Can she forgive and move on, especially considering that Barbara is holding another secret now?
Yeah, I don't know if it's as much about forgiveness for her at this point as it is that she's smart enough to understand that she needs allies, and that Barbara and Tabitha are stronger together than they are apart. But I would be surprised if this doesn't come back up at some point in the season.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm looking forward to like the Selena has two moms storyline, where you guys start like using Selena against each other.
Maybe. We were talking, it's quite a parental relationship.
Yeah.
Right, we were talking about who's mom, who's dad in that relationship.
It's a little weird because they have this parental relationship, but most of the time in most of the scenes, Selena is the one to calm the situation down, and she's the voice of reason. So it's this really cool dynamic that makes every scene that I do with them really fun.
Okay, and now for Tabitha also, and this goes to Drew. We are waiting for Solomon to rise. What can you tell us about that? And what can you tell us about how the people that used to love him are going to react when they see the new version?
Yes, Solomon Grundy is born on Thursday, 8 p.m., 7 Central. That's the thing about Grundy is that it's Butch in there somewhere, but Grundy doesn't remember anything when he comes out. Hence his team up with Nigma, who Butch hates. And so it's fun to see these two kind of Laurel and Hardy this thing into the Narrows to find Lee. It's just as Cory said today, it's the dream team you didn't know you needed. But yeah, and then I think moving forward, people are going to be quite shocked to find Grundy, or Butch looking like Grundy.
Yeah, and she's shocked to find him alive. What starts with joy quickly turns into horror when she realizes.
Kind of like my normal life.
They were such a sweet couple.
Were they?
No, they were terrifying.
She doesn't understand this. They were such a cute couple, right?
They were sweet compared to what we're seeing between Alex and Aaron form, because you guys are going to be like the Sid and Nancy of Gotham.
I don't know if we really will be, but
yeah,
we'll try. We'll give it our best shot.
So, Alex, when Rish, when he starts to fill these people around him in as to exactly how long he's been around and what his actual plan is, are they going to sign on, or are they going to be like, oh no, you're obviously insane?
Well, I don't think, hopefully most people realize I'm insane just too late. But I certainly do explain very carefully to Bruce exactly what my intentions are, and start to exercise some of those plans. I think I'm keeping some of the motives to myself. But yes, Barbara is easily the most useful and persuasive ally I could find at the top of the shop, and so it's really exciting, this relationship I have with Aaron, and we really enjoy kicking each other's ass around the stage.
All right, so we have some fun to have right here. I have asked the actors to give me an unknown factoid about themselves, and I'm going to quiz you guys on how well you know your castmates. So, this person's mother played Magenta in Rocky Horror Picture Show.
What? Why don't I know?
In the production of Rocky Horror Picture Show.
Okay.
Yeah. Not in the Rocky Horror Picture, in a production.
My mom was a cheerleader.
I say Sid.
It's a really intelligent guess, but it is Morena.
You didn't know that. That's right. Smart.
All right, this one was an altar boy for masses at St. Peter's in Rome.
Wait, say that again?
This cast member was an altar boy for masses in St. Peter's in Rome.
Sean.
Donal. Of course.
You mean the Irish guy?
Anyone. Yeah, the Irish guy.
Who saw that?
Only Donal Logue would have a life. Or sure. You give the craziest fact, probably Donal. Probably an altar boy in Rome. Sure.
It's Forrest Gump. This person had 102 fever at their audition for Gotham.
Ooh.
He knows that.
Chris Shaw? Cameron.
David. This one has been to the North Pole. This person has been to the North Pole.
That's a bar on the Lower East Side. There wasn't a North Pole.
Whoa.
I'm gonna guess Crystal.
Yeah.
No. Nope.
Robin.
I thought there wasn't a North Pole. Is there a
Well, yeah, it's like we were on a boat, but we got like within like 20 miles of the North Pole or something like that. Yeah.
So no.
Yeah, it was a Russian icebreaker.
Was it cold?
It really wasn't as cold as you wanted it to be. Yeah, right.
All right, this is actually one of my favorite ones because this is a deep dive. My father used to play Post-its with Christopher Robin.
Play what?
Post-its.
Oh, Pooh Sticks. Pooh Sticks, right?
Sean. It's got to be Sean.
Sean, yeah.
Sean.
Yeah.
Yes!
So your father actually knew the real Christopher Robin?
The real Christopher Robin.
What is that? Pooh Sticks is basically you get a stick and you drop it off the bridge
And it's the first stick to come out the other side.
On the other side of the bridge. It's in the Hufflepuff movie.
Yeah, that's right. My dad used to play with Christian.
It's a really big sport in England.
Yeah.
We're terribly good.
That kills in England. All right.
Extreme.
This person in the cast is legally blind and had to wear an eye patch as a child.
I think that's Cameron. The Cam.
Cam.
I only know that because I saw her glasses the other day.
It was really traumatizing because I would have to go to sleepovers and wear a freaking eye patch. So all of the little girls that I was sleeping over with and having pillow fights with, I was having to wear an eye patch, and it was.
Where are they now?
I'm actually still friends with them, but
You're watching you on live stream, girl.
The cutest pirate ever.
All right. This person has an animal tattooed on their toe.
Cory!
What animal you think it is?
It is Aaron. It's gonna be that Aaron. And what is the animal?
The camel.
The camel.
That's right. I got a joke about that.
Is that a joke?
No. What happened? Have we got time for me to tell a story? What happens is I have 6 girlmates in the UK. They all have a camel on their big toe, a huge camel on their toe. And I said to them, one of them was coming out to New York for Thanksgiving, and I said, drunk, on the phone to them, I was like, hey, if you all come, I'll get the camel tattooed on my too. And I hate tattoos. I mean, I don't hate tattoos, now I have 2, but I didn't at the time ever want a tattoo. And it was just like I was like, they're never gonna come. 2 days later, I get it on our email thread, everybody has booked to come to New York.
Now you have a camel toe.
But she's tiny, so mine's just like here on my little toe. She's so small, her name's Falafel, and they got this huge one. And I was like, I'm not getting the big one, I just want a little tiny one. Just a little camel. Just tiny camel toe. Mine is so small, guys, honestly, you can't even see it. You can barely see my camel toe.
I like that you grazed over the fact that you named it falafel.
Right,
She's my, I can't, that's a whole other story.
Okay, this person, their first audition was for Days of Our Lives.
Oh my.
Drew.
Nice! Wow.
Did you get it?
I did not. I auditioned to play a camp counselor that could play the guitar, which I actually was at the time, and I did not get the part. I don't think I have the Days of Our Lives look, people. How in the world did you guess that?
Okay.
I don't know.
All right, this one is really disturbing. All right. This person has not seen Titanic.
Chris Chalk.
I've seen Titanic 15 times.
That's actually more
Hopeless
disturbing.
romantic. You see that? We already have done.
Ben McKenzie?
I would guess Ben.
It is Ben McKenzie.
Got a cold heart.
Unpatriotic.
Date night.
Date night, yeah.
Date night. Oh yeah.
All right, this person's first experience with pets was breeding gerbils.
Cory.
Chris.
Cory.
Thank you. Look, you know, some families are hamster families. We were a gerbil family.
How hands-on were you?
You know, it was actually an accident. So my parents, they wanted us to have pets, but they didn't trust us. And, so they're like, well, it has to be caged and little and whatever. So we went to the pet store and got gerbils. We got 2 male gerbils, and my brother named his Fasty because he was fast. My brother's not he didn't get the creative genes. I named my male gerbil Perdita because I was really young and loved 101 Dalmatians, naturally. So I named him Perdita, and I should have trusted the instinct inside myself that was like, this is a girl. and boy, did they like each other. And then it's really hard to figure out what sex gerbils are, so it just was a baby farm. And my dad one day was like, we're done, we're handing them out to other people, no more gerbils.
Halloween at your house must have been terrifying.
We didn't.
There you go.
Halloween. Parents didn't let us have Halloween. Really cool family. Really good. Next person.
Okay. This person pooped their pants during a standardized test in the 6th grade because the teacher would not let them go to the bathroom.
It's Chris.
She was on that.
I just want to point out how bad teachers can be. You know, because I said I need to go to the bathroom. She was like, no. And I was like, okay. We'll see if I'm going to the bathroom or not. It was successful.
You told me that story before, that's how I knew.
Oh no, I took the test. 98.
Number 2? You really nailed that shit, Chris.
This one wanted to be a race car driver as a kid.
Danny Ken?
You. I'm not in this game?
No, I'm not in this game.
Miss Crystal Reed.
Yeah, it's a Better City thing. And also, what a great job.
Yeah, right? And this person's first role ever was playing Chief Stoat in a school production of Wind in the Willows when they were 9. Gotta be Sid. Yeah, British. Yeah, how did you go for Chief Stoat and Wind in the Willows?
Chief Stoat is one of the most a great influence on Raish.
Excellent. Well, we're going to go to some quick audience questions, so line on up. We'll try to get through as many as possible. Oh my goodness. Oh, I ran. Okay, so the fact that I did a Batman panel earlier today for an animated film, and Two-Face here asked a question there too.
Hi. Hey, I was just wondering, the show's been on for 5 years now. You guys have had some amazing moments for all your characters. What would you say has been the most defining moment for your character?
For me, the most defining moment was the pier scene with Jim Gordon. Definitely.
I guess I'll go. I think the most defining... Oh, they're not laughing. Are they laughing? Oh, okay. The most defining moment, I think, for Selena was when she pushed Reggie out of the window, because it really showed what exactly she was willing to do to survive.
And mine was loving someone so much, allowing them to kill you to bring them back. I survived though, obviously.
But knowing that you can't really die because you're an iconic character, so you're probably going to have to come back. So
it does actually help.
Yeah.
And one more. Anyone else?
Getting shot in the head.
Getting shot in the head. By the way, it's great to see you, Jonah. You've always been our #1 fan, and we love you. And you're growing up with us, and it's so awesome to see you here.
Thank you.
And say hi to your mom for us. All right. Thanks. Go ahead.
I'm Rachel from Long Island.
Hey, Rachel.
I'm a big fan of the whole show, but I've been a fan of McKenzie since the OC. Season 1, I've been dying to meet you, and I'm so mad that there's no photo ops.
I will absolutely take a photo, of course.
Anyway, also congratulations on your new baby and your marriage and all that stuff. I would like to know from you, from the OC to Southland to 88 Minutes to Junebug to Gotham, how do you see yourself as changed as an actor?
Thank you. Cory, if you just Cory's really wants to learn from me. He's very...
Well, who wouldn't?
Did you bring your notepad? I'm less foolish than I was back then. I don't know. I think maybe write that down. I don't know how to answer that question. That's a great question.
Jesus, somebody help me out. You're on your own, pal. I do fewer shirtless scenes, right, Danny Cannon? I do fewer shirtless scenes than I shirtless scene. That's a great. Ah, stop it.
Write that down, Cory.
Don't write that down. Don't write that down.
Write that in. Yeah, no, I missed the OC. Yeah, write that in.
I think, you know what I think was great about working for a long time is that you get a lot of different experiences. I have to say that this experience on this show is, you know, if it's not the top, it's near the top of all the creative experiences I've had, and not just creative, but also the family that's been created here is pretty amazing. And so the fact that we have from 16 people up here or whatever it is, but it's like, yeah, literally a family, is you know, a really satisfying thing. And I remember Robin asking me early on in the show, like, is this normal to like cast members like each other this much? And I was like, no.
There's only one other show I've seen that on, and that's Supernatural.
Yeah, I hear the same about that.
I hate that they put you guys up against each other on Thursday night. You want to hate.
Yeah.
Well, you can record Supernatural and watch this live.
Great idea. Great idea.
I got your back.
Good question.
Thank you.
Go ahead.
Hi, my name is Alexandra. I'm so happy to be here. My question is, do you guys have a favorite line that your character has said or from another character?
I'm not crazy, I'm free. That was my favorite one. I like that just for life. Like, just free. Pretty free, loving individual. Anyone else?
The best liars always tell the truth.
Yeah, I like your, in the sizzle reel, you should have, it's Gotham, you should have checked for a pulse. That's pretty good.
Hi guys. We can't do them all because we'll be here until San Diego Comic-Con.
At least it's not the whole age line, right?
Yeah.
Hi guys, this is Talia from Queens. I'm a huge fan. I've literally been here since one coddling the seat just to make sure that I get to ask you guys a question. Morena, my question is for you. We know that you'll be back. I heard at San Diego Comic-Con that you'll be darker. Will there be a chance for a team up with Tabitha and with Selena and with Ivy? And if so, might be a Gotham City Sirens team?
We do have some scenes together coming up that we just shot. Not necessarily a team up, but they do cross paths, and I finally get to deck Barbara. A long time. Spoiler alert.
Thank you.
How's she going to feel about Sophia?
Who?
Sophia. Oh.
She doesn't know yet.
All right, go ahead.
Hi, I'm Annalise from Queens. What up? My question's for David, fellow Mets fan. All right. I want to know, where do you draw inspiration from as Batman? As the soon-to-be Batman?
Oh wow, that's a good question. Everywhere that I can. I always, one thing I do, I mean, obviously at the beginning of the show, I did as much research as I could, saw every movie, watched Adam West, I watched the animated series, I read every comic book I could get my hands on, and I still read comics all the time, because now I just love it, but I always, periodically I'll watch a Batman movie, just like I just watched Batman Forever.
Do a line!
Again. I'll periodically, like once every couple months, I'll watch a Batman movie, just like to keep myself, grounded in what we've done and what this mythos has been before Gotham. But also, most of my inspiration, 98% of it, comes from the writers. And just the scripts are so definitive in what they're asking me to do. It's not. I feel like obviously I'm bringing this character to life, but I'm just kind of. The catalyst that makes it happen. I'm not I feel like I'm just bringing to life the words that I see on the page, and that's really where the character comes from. So it's people like Danny and everybody in our writer's room that really make this character come to life.
I love this show so much, so I want to say thank you. I'm so happy to be here.
Thank you.
Go ahead.
Hi, my name is Jordan, and I have a question for Robin and Cory. Do you think that Riddler and Penguin will ever
team up again without killing each other?
I mean, it's Gotham, anything can happen. But yeah, I mean, I think, well, as the next episode is a really important episode for both of us because it's the first time they come back into each other's lives. And I don't want to say anything except I will say that what results, like what happens is something that Oswald had absolutely no idea was going to happen. It's something that's never happened before, but there's a change there that even Oswald didn't see coming. So yeah, it's exciting. In terms of working together, we'll see. Yeah, I don't know. Cory, what do you think?
I think that was a great answer.
Okay, thanks.
Your costume looks amazing on you, by the way.
Yes.
You're welcome.
Great.
Thank you so much.
Go ahead.
My name is Hussein. I'm from the Bronx. So, you know, I've been growing up with Batman, the comics, the movies, the cartoons. Favorite characters, Joker and Two-Face, but not in a million years would I think that I'm watching the show and it turns out my favorite character is the Penguin. So how did you, Robin, and Danny, like, did it just come naturally? Did you already have an idea of how you want to mold his character? Because he's obviously different from the other iterations, but he's still the Penguin and he's just awesome. It's cool.
That's definitely a Danny question. I mean, it's similar to what David said. Like, I feel like I'm just the vessel. You know, and so that's for me.
No, he's being modest. That's not the case. Well, we didn't write it as the Penguin originally, but we didn't want to announce that it was the Penguin, so we wrote this character. Robin didn't know what he was auditioning for, unless somebody had tipped you off.
Not until like the night before did I know, but at that point I had already rehearsed, and I was like, well, I don't know.
We wrote this character who could bend and twist and weasel his way out of things by still stabbing somebody in the back while he did it. And Robin came and read, and then I got to speak with him a bit. I knew he was the guy, but I got to speak with him a bit, and he leaned into more of, I said, bring more of yourself to it. And that's what you get. I mean, it's when actors bring these things to life, that's when we can really start to write. It's hand in hand that, until it has a voice, this thing on the page, it doesn't really come to life. Robin brought Penguin to life, and it was amazing.
Also, didn't we have to leave Gotham because she took place as a wanted fugitive? You know?
I was with the guy who's the law. It's fine.
You tried to kill him.
Yeah, it's true. I did. I think that she feels a lot of guilt over all of that. I don't think she's, coming back willy-nilly thinking she's the good guy.
Trying to kill someone is like basically a compliment in our show. You know, it's like, oh, you tried to kill me? You care.
Go ahead.
I'm Ty. I'm from Brooklyn. So I know a lot of these actors from previous works, like Crystal from TV, David on Touch. I used to watch that as a kid. Cameron, I seen you on America's Best Dance Group, and I never let that go. My question is, so what is it like from working on other shows and other things that, like, what's the difference between that and now playing characters on Gotham that are these iconic characters that people have grown up with, that have such a place in people's hearts? Like, how does it feel to know that you're playing this and people are going to know you for being that person?
I think there certainly feels like there's a huge responsibility, especially because people do know the story and people have expectations. But what felt the best for me was that there's a certain creative level and that's given to us, I think, from the directors and the writers and all the powers that be, and it feels really freeing. And although those voices are in the back of your head, it doesn't really feel like we have to stick to something that's already been done. And I think that's probably why people love the show so much, because we're not rewatching somebody else's character being done in a certain way. And so for me, that felt and continues to feel very, very freeing. So thanks.
Hi, I'm Amy, and I'm from Brooklyn. I'm also from Brooklyn, and I want to thank you all for being that one show that fully makes me submerge into the whole Batman universe. It makes me love all the villains, all the heroes, and all the characters, and I just love the whole cast. And my question would be, can you elaborate more on, since Sophia's a big character this season, can you elaborate more on Sophia and Oswald's relationship? Like, is it more platonic and frenemies, or can you just elaborate more on the relationship?
Sure. Yeah, so this episode coming up, we see frenemies. They meet, and I think it was a really interesting scene because it's you certainly get a sense of the cat and mouse game that's happening, and they're both so strong-willed, and I think it'll be fun to see where that goes, and you know, it's been such a pleasure to act alongside Robin. And it's such a great learning experience. We always find something new in the scenes, but I think for Sophia, I can only speak for myself, that she's trying to find a way to befriend him for certain reasons that I will get fired for telling you.
And for Oswald, it's, well, you know, he learned everything from her father. I mean, that really is his idol in terms of how to operate as the king of Gotham. So when he hears that she's in town, obviously he needs to suss her out and figure out if she's on his side or if she's not, you know. And that dynamic continues for a long time. She's very hard to pin down for him, but I think because she's so hard to pin down for him, that's interesting. That's alluring to him, because normally he feels like he can read anybody, know exactly what their deal is, know how to get what he needs out of them, and then be done with them. She's one of the first people that he can't do that. So it's a very interesting dynamic when we start off. Yeah.
Ooh, thank you.
Yeah. Thank you. Thanks for watching.
I want to kind of piggyback on that regarding Ivy. So I feel like at some point Ivy is no longer going to take your abuse.
Yeah.
Jessica and Erin, do you think that Tabitha and Bez would see her as like a potential recruit?
Thanks, Erin. I actually don't know the answer to that question. I think Danny has to answer that question.
The great thing about this show is that people are constantly changing. People are constantly changing. They don't stand still for long. You don't survive in Gotham if you stand still. Ivy's going through a really dark change, and there's an episode coming up. It's not until episode 12 when a whole new Ivy will emerge.
Nice.
And I don't know if she could be friendly with anybody. Ooh. So we'll see.
All right. Okay. All right. We're on this side, so go over there.
Hi, I'm Skylar. I'm from Queens. I have two stupid questions.
Shush, they're not stupid.
About minor details in the show. The first is, how are villains allowed to just waltz into the GCPD station?
Right.
And the second is, where does the Penguin get his crime statistics from?
Wow. I'm going to give you time to think about that while I punch here. Villains are allowed to walk into the GCPD. In the pilot, we actually shot a scene outside that never made the cut of the security office outside the GCPD. Everyone's just taking a nap. The guys are just reading a newspaper. I have no idea. They're just allowed to walk there. We have no. It's a really great question with no good answer.
Makes it interesting.
It makes it interesting, doesn't it? If they had to check their badges and go through a scanner, it would just. It'd get cut, you know. Anyway, so it's crime statistics.
Yes. And I have this really great guy who works for me this season. His name is Mr. Penn. And, you know, we should have had Andrew here because he could really answer this question better. So I'm just going to, tweet him. Yeah.
That's a very political answer.
Yeah.
It's a very political, you handled that nicely.
Fake news, next.
And you are actually going to be our last question.
Oh, okay, thank you. Hi guys, I'm Charles. I'm from Long Island. I just want to say I love you all. I've been watching your show since the beginning. My questions are for Alexander and Robin. Now, Alexander, I am a big fan of Ra's al Ghul. I think he's one of them.
I apologize in advance.
Well, I must say you do play the character elegantly. And my question is, as I see it, Penguin is his greatest, if you want to say, greatest barrier towards taking over Gotham. Because Penguin's a real brain crime boss. He's one who has his fingers in there. But Ra's al Ghul, how does Ra's al Ghul see Penguin? And Robin, how does Penguin see Ra's al Ghul?
Is Ra's al Ghul even on your radar?
I don't even know he's not. And it's funny because I was talking about this earlier and I said, you know, the continual lesson that Oswald needs to learn is that of hubris. I mean, he's constantly thinking that he's in control and then missing a giant detail. And we saw that, have we seen the knife? Yeah. So when Barbara comes asking for this knife, Oswald is so obtuse, he has no idea that it's the key to like a supernatural being of 1,000 years. You know what I mean? Like he's just about getting one over on Barbara. You know what I mean? Like you know, this is a consistent flaw of his. It's like underestimating his enemies. I mean, I'm sure when the day comes, there will be a reckoning, and you'll have to deal with that.
So the devil you know is better than the devil you don't know.
Yeah, I think that's probably true.
Yeah.
Cool. All right, well, listen, you guys are amazing. Thank you guys. We're brought